FanDuel NFL Week 2 is here, and this is your first look. My name's Kevin Allen, aka the Geek from DFS Army, and we're going to break it all down for you. We're going to take a look at the salaries, we're going to look at the matchups, and we're going to look at some of the top plays for NFL Week 2, including multiple core plays here on FanDuel. Giving the FanDuel a little bit of love. Why not? Smash that like button and give this video a little love as well as we break it all down for you. All right, let's get into this thing. And we're going to take a look at the game tiles on the DFS Army Domination Station to get an idea of which games kind of pop in a little bit, which ones look good this week, and which ones have some high team and game totals. So, we're looking for green, right? We're looking for the 45s and the 50s and the high team totals and the high game, the close games, all that good stuff. So, a couple pop in here. Actually, I think this New York Washington game is really interesting. Yes, it's only a 44-point total, but pretty high team totals for both teams. And man, it was Washington defense that led up the nuts Millie Maker winner in NFL Week 1. Congrats to Burns for pointing out the Baker double stacks, which took down big tournaments last week. Want to keep that going. Going to have Burns on again later this week to give us his gems. Another game that's popping here, mostly just a high total game here with the Bucks and the Lions, 51.5 points, although a lot of those points probably coming from the Lions. 29.25 team total. That is the biggest team total on the slate. So we're going to want to target some players from Denver if we can. A couple other big ones here. This one especially, it seems like the game of the week to me, the game stack of the week. Usually not too many stackable games, I'd say. New York, Washington, but also Rams, Cardinals. Look how close this game is. 49-point total. Really, really close spread. Both teams with high team totals. So that game really is popping on the models as well. And of course, FanDuel is once again giving us Sunday Night Football as part of their main slate. That's kind of fun. I enjoyed it last week. I like sweating out that last game. Of course, we're rolling tons of showdown lineups on Sunday night as well. But it's good to have multiple sweats going at once. One's not working out. Maybe another one is. It's helpful. All right, let's jump in to the player pool. But a quick reminder before we do that DFS Army this week only. We want you to try out our NFL premium product with the optimizer, the projections, the ownerships, all of our tools, the research station, and of course, the DFS Army Discord where all the magic comes together. Try us out for a week for $10. Get to use our optimizers, coaching, everything. Promo code CRUNCH in honor of some other optimizers that may not be working. You want to check something new out? Get into DFS Army. Promo code CRUNCH this week only gets you $10 for the NFL weekly. If you like it, stick around. If not, cancel it. No harm, no foul. So check it out. DFS Army NFL weekly. Promo code CRUNCH gets you the week for just $10. The same as a cup of coffee. It's a cup of coffee over at Starbucks, a venti, a grande, a latte. I don't know what the hell they call them over there. Side note, you ever go to Starbucks? I refuse to say whatever their sizing things. I just say, give me a large, bro. Just give me a large. I don't know. I don't know what these words mean. Give me the biggest. I actually tell them, give me the biggest coffee you have. What's the biggest cup you got? That's the one I want. Sure, would you like a venti? I don't know what that means. Give me the big one. All right, back to it. We are breaking down FanDuel pricing for NFL Week 2. There's core plays here, multiples. So we're going to break out at the running back position, at the wide receiver position. You're going to see them. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, NFL Week 2, it's so easy. It's so salaries don't matter. Lots and lots of value. Actually, to get a look at some of this, I actually loaded up the Domination Station Optimizer and I sorted by fantasy points per dollar. You can see here some of the quarterbacks that are popping on the value charts. Lamar, Jaden Daniels, Dak Prescott. I have thoughts on all these guys. Dak Prescott there, maybe Kyler. Some names I'm not so confident in. Running backs, you see Breece Hall popping. James Conner, and my favorite is still not projected as a starter, so we'll get to them in a minute. And of course, at wide receiver, Cooper Kupp, CeeDee Lamb. I actually really agree with a lot of these values. So these are a lot of the names that we are going to wind up using in our first look lineup build here. But let's just talk through each position group and some of the salaries here. So they've got Lamar as the highest priced quarterback on the slate. Undisclosed Q tag. Don't know what that means. Doesn't matter. Here's what's important for me with Lamar. The way the Ravens play, they don't tend to put Lamar in situations that could damage him when they're playing from ahead. And as bad as the Raiders were last week, I don't think they're necessarily a super competitive team here on the road at Baltimore. So I only like really using Lamar in competitive games, which I'm not thinking this will be. Doesn't mean he can't smash. It just means he's less likely to smash in a game like this, and it's not for me. Pat Mahomes could be okay if Cincinnati is getting it going, but once again, I don't know. He hasn't been getting it done lately. Seems weird to pay up for him. So I just have ancillary interest in Mahomes. Probably not somebody I'm going to be building around. Again, continuing on with the theme, Richardson and the Colts. This looks like a defensive smash game for the Colts. Not much. You know what? Actually makes me wonder what the heck's the spread on this thing. It's not as big as it should be, considering the Packers are rolling out a trash bag at quarterback this week in Malik Willis. So get ready to bet the Colts right after this. Okay. CJ Stroud at home against Houston. Yeah, okay. For 8,200, fine. Murray, part of the big game of the week at 8K. That does work for me, although I feel like it's been like multiple seasons since we've seen Kyler Murray pass 20 fantasy points in a game. It's going to happen. This might be it. And I like the spot here for Kyler Murray. Jaden Daniels, 7,900. That really is popping for me. I love that he does it with his legs. So all good. I liked what I saw out of Jaden Daniels in NFL Week 1, not with the arm so much as with the legs. So, passed for 184 yards, no touchdown. All right. But he ran for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns and produced a monster score. Against the Giants, I think he could do it again. So this is going to be who I plug in here. But I do want to mention a couple of other names that I think are relevant. Dak Prescott at home for 7,700. I'm cool with that. Jared Goff, part of one of the up-tempo games of the week, although Detroit has too many running backs collecting touchdowns that it really does harm Jared Goff's ability to get the 3 or 4 he needs to smash. Justin Herbert, no. Stafford, maybe. Against Arizona, maybe. Should we go back to Baker on the road? Probably not. Purdy at Minnesota can definitely be interesting as well. In order for Purdy to really smash again, Minnesota's going to have to put up some resistance, and I think they could. So I don't mind Brock Purdy in this spot for 7,300. That is like too cheap for Purdy. It's crazy. And anybody else of interest here? Yes. Maybe, a couple names. I think I've given up on Deshaun Watson. He's got to prove it. But, this is really, really cheap in a good matchup situation for him. Justin Fields runs the football quite a bit. It looks like he's going to start. And finally, for tournaments only, Danny Douche Dimes. I want to take some shots once again this week. We'll see what happens. But for the purpose of this lineup, we're going to go with Jaden Daniels. And next, I want to talk about the running back position. And I'm going to start at the bottom and work our way up. So, Jordan Mason, beast mode, last week was not salaried. These salaries came out before the Monday Night Football game. And now I'm hearing that it's likely McCaffrey will miss another week. Jordan Mason is a beast at 5,500. He's effectively a must play on FanDuel. What I love about it is when you play Jordan Mason, look at all the salary we have to play with. Like, it really, really starts us out in a comfortable space just in terms of salary spent on FanDuel. So let's work our way up the salary chain and see some other relevant running backs that we might be interested in. And the first one that's kind of popping for me, maybe Brian Robinson, maybe where's DK? Wait a minute. Where's Dobbins? Hold on. That's a little pricey for J.K. Dobbins. So, I think the first one popping for me here is going to be Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford really did a lot last week. Was under the radar, 7 targets, 6 receptions, 12 carries. Did he get a touchdown? Yeah, he got a touchdown. Solid score. I don't really see him doing like a lot more than that, but he's definitely a relevant pay down option if we're looking for more bargains at the running back position on FanDuel this week. We probably don't need it. but he's there. But my favorite down here is going to be James the Terminator Conner at 6,500. This guy just keeps getting it done and keeps getting it done for the Cardinals, and starts with Kyler Murray. I think he's averaging something like 19 or 20 fantasy points per game. That is crazy good. Remember, on FanDuel, we're looking for 3x salary. So about 18 to 19 fantasy points would be spectacular for Conner at this price. And I think he's very capable in effectively what is the game of the week, the Rams in Arizona, one of the games of the week, of getting it done. So let's plug in James Conner to this lineup. But wait, there's more. Okay, J.K. Dobbins, big breakout last week. In a great matchup, will the Chargers kind of give him more touches after he looked much better than Gus Edwards last week? I don't know. It's more hopium. Just hoping that it happens. I don't know if it's going to happen. But if it does, Dobbins could easily smash this price point. Aaron Jones had an uncomfortable sort of mix of snaps with Ty Chandler last week, so I'm not happy with him and really not confident there. Josh Jacobs, no quarterback. Don't like that. David Montgomery, touchdown score, perfectly appropriate for a FanDuel play, 91 yards last week and a touchdown. Sure, why not? He's going to probably get another touchdown here. That's what he does. He gets touchdowns. ETN, could he bounce back? Yes. Yeah, he could bounce back. Yeah, ETN didn't really get us much goodness last week. Got the touchdown, but only 10 fantasy points. Pretty gross. But better priced here, Isaiah Pacheco, getting all the work for the Chiefs, getting the passing game work, 7,400, not a bad price. Derrick Henry probably going to score a touchdown. I didn't like the coach speak about Derrick Henry and sort of saying we need to kind of limit his touches. We're not going to give him 25, 30, but I'm not really sure what that means yet. I did see a lot of Justice Hill in film last week when looking at the Baltimore game, so we'll see how that goes. Now, Kenny Walker on the road as a road favorite. That's fine if he's healthy and plays. But some of the other names I'd be interested in are actually much more towards the top. Kyron Williams proves that he is the man that we thought he was. 18 carries and a touchdown, got some receptions last week. Obviously, FanDuel is super skewed to touchdown scores, so if they're not getting one or two, you're generally not going to get a great score out of them. Jonathan Taylor, sure. This is a great, with the Colts as heavy favorites at home. I like the defense already, so I don't mind stacking up Taylor with Colts defense, but obviously we're going to need to see a little more than what we saw from him in week one, but I think we will here. It's a different matchup, different game flow. But my favorite running back for NFL week one in terms of pay up options is going to be Breece Lightning, aka Breece Hall. The Jets should dominate this game defensively against the Titans. The Titans have a very bad quarterback and they're just going to be turnover prone. So I don't think they're going to be able to get a whole lot going against the Jets, which means Hall should feast if Jets defense is feasting. So I like pairing them up as well. And just keep in mind, there's really nice correlation between defense and running back. So that is a situation where, if I like Hall, I might mix that with Jets defense. If I want to go with Taylor, I can mix that with Colts defense, and so on and so forth. Even Joe Mixon down here. Joe Mixon had a smash week, and there's nothing that's stopping him from doing that again here. Tons and tons of volume. They didn't give the ball to anybody else last week. Targets, rushes. I mean, it's crazy. The only thing I can think of is maybe they don't want to overwork him again this week, but I have no problem even going down to Joe Mixon here for the Sunday Night Football game and getting a little Sunday night action going in the flex. So lots of great running back options for NFL week 2. Let's jump over to the wide receiver position, and I'm just going to plug in Cooper Kupp right away. No Puka. It's not like this Rams team hides what they're going to do. They're going to throw it to Cooper Kupp, and Arizona just doesn't really have the kind of cornerbacks that could shut somebody down. So I think Kupp is going to feast in this game. He will be a core play for me, so I'm just plugging him in there. My next favorite wide receiver on the slate is CeeDee Lamb. Love CD at home. Didn't have much of a game last week, but, he caught everything that went his way or he did his thing. It just didn't sort of convert as it normally would. They didn't really need him that much. Defensively, they were dominating that game. So I think he'd step up this week. The Saints, again, don't have the style of secondary that is going to be able to stop CeeDee Lamb. I'm actually going to plug him in here. 49. Yeah, we can't afford it. So unfortunately, in order to get CeeDee Lamb in there, we'd have to punt the tight end and defense or something. Actually, let's see. You know what? Let's see. Let's plug in my favorite defense of the week, Colts, 4,500, 5,150 there. And yeah, we're going to have to pull CeeDee Lamb from this as a first look lineup. A little too spendy. So we'll come back to wide receiver. I want to plug in the tight end, though. So let's go through the tight end position real quick and just kind of get a sense. There is some value here. And there's a couple of great value spots that have, been priced down since last week alone. But Sam Laporta, 7,900, fine. He can smash at any moment. But we also saw last week that, that team has a lot of weapons, and they don't necessarily need to go to Laporta. It's going to be game by game, and he's not somebody that we should be confident will always, or that we can be confident in terms of just plug and play, pay up, and we're going to get the smash game. Same thing with Kelsey. Real disappointment last week as well. 4.9 fantasy points, only 4 targets. Will he turn it around this week? I don't know. I think he'll have big games and crappy games all season. More concerned would be Mark Andrews. Definitely not worthy of this pay up price right now outside of like GPP craziness. 2 targets last week. He ran. So Andrews was in the game. He was out there running routes the whole time. Just didn't throw to him. Is that going to change from week to week? Yeah, I think he'll have his big weeks, but it was concerning what we saw last week. And instead of him, they threw it to Isaiah Likely, who had 12 targets, 9 receptions. A lot of them were like the same exact play. They just refused to cover Likely. I don't think we're going to see that again this week, but man, last week, Casey, they just would not cover him. Like it's almost like the Ravens figured something out and just Casey could not answer it in real time. It was almost like a flaw in their defense. He was wide open, same play every single time. So I'm not sure that we'll get another likely 12 target game anytime soon. But, what if we do? And I feel stupid if I didn't play him. George Kittle is really not a consistent tight end. Rarely sort of can be counted on. He does have pop games, so more GPP only. But the guy I'm interested in here is Trey McBride, a.k.a. Tracy McBrazy, right? Trey McBride got a good number of targets again last week, and that's all I could really ask for out of a tight end. Another 9 targets. It hasn't slowed down. This guy's getting 8 to 10 targets. He's super cheap, 6,200 in the game of the week. Easy call to plug in Trey McBride right there. And this leaves us 6,600 left per position. Now, I love CeeDee Lamb, but again, you can't really afford Kupp, Lamb, and Breece Hall all in the same lineup. That's fine. But it was important that I mentioned Lamb because he's awesome. Justin Jefferson, fine, but I prefer Lamb of this whole group up here. If we're not going with one of these guys, we're going to scroll on down. Deebo Samuel, generally a player that you want to target in games when Christian McCaffrey's not in because they run him as a running back a little bit, and he has those 28 to 36 kind of point games that look really good because they're touchdown heavy on FanDuel. So Deebo Samuel definitely in the player pool for me this week. DK Metcalf coming off a bad game, but he's still a touchdown scoring player, so I don't mind him there. Pickens, tough matchup against Pat Surtain, but definitely the prime target in this offense. So, we'll keep him in mind. Here we got Pittman, a ton of targets last week. Didn't quite convert them into anything special, but 8 targets, 4 receptions. Not bad. Cooper coming off the dud disaster. They threw to him 9 times, only caught 2 of them. Deshaun Watson may be washed. Like, listen, I have a lot of dynasty exposure to Deshaun Watson. It's going to blow up a lot of my shit. But what are you going to do? I want him to be successful, but, what can I do? I don't know. It's not been working out. But if he does have a good game, it's going to go through Amari, and 6,300 is a very good price for a touchdown scoring wide receiver like him. So I am mentioning him. We're going to keep him in mind, but, I have my concerns. Malik Neighbors, very interesting, 6,400. Playable. Very playable. Xavier Worthy, big game breakout last week. If Hollywood Brown doesn't come back, I'm very interested in Xavier Worthy here, going right back to it. But he did a lot, again, of his damage off just a couple of receptions. So, what can we count on? I'm not really sure. Scrolling down, though, one of my favorite values on FanDuel this week is Jamison Williams. Again, he's part of the game of the week here. 9 targets last week, 5 receptions, 121 yards. He looked great out there. So he just looked big. He looked fast. He looked everything that you want to see. So I was really happy with what I saw from Jamison. And that's a game I'm trying to target this week. So yeah, give me a little bit of little JMO action. And we'll close it out with Deebo Samuel here, touchdown scoring wide receiver, exact kind of player I like to use on DraftKings. Of course, obviously, there's some different ways to go, including a version of a lineup like this where we might punt the RB. So I don't think that's the right way to go, but there's so many good running backs that, if we punted down to Pacheco here, we could probably get to CeeDee Lamb at wide. Ooh, no, not quite. But how much more do I need? Another 500. So let's see how deep we have to punt at flex running back in order to get to Lamb. It's just probably going to be, you'd have to go all the way down to J.K. Dobbins. I liked my way before better with Breece Hall in here and Samuel. So that's going to do it for the FanDuel NFL Week 2 first look. If you enjoyed this video, a little FanDuel love, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and remember, this week only, the NFL Weekly Sub, 1 week of NFL. Test out all of our tools, the Research Station, the Players Club, VIP podcasts on Saturdays, the VIP podcast with Shark Lab, the Burns, everything that you need, the cheat sheets, the notes, the showdown breakdowns. We have it all here. Ownership, player projections, the Sim Boost model, all that good stuff at DFS Army. Promo code CRUNCH gets you a $10 week of NFL at DFS Army. Good luck.